Jordan Peele's directorial debut, Get Out, was impressive. He obviously has an intuitive and formal understanding of film, and I can't wait to see more from him. So here's my review of Get Out. He definitely hooks you right from the start with the movie. He has a very interesting style in the movie, presents fairly realistic scenes and some surreal scenes. But it all blends together really well, and it leaves you feeling anxious. This is demonstrated really well in the opening scene. We go from this surreal experience of a male adult being kidnapped quite easily in a suburban white neighborhood where you would never expect this type of thing, to this very calm, peaceful morning scene of getting ready. And it works fantastic. It just leaves you wondering, wait a minute, what happened to the guy who was abducted? Where is he? And he uses this type of going back and forth from a anxiety type scene to a more peaceful, normal scene throughout the whole movie. And it really works well because specifically in the first half of the movie, you're very uncomfortable not knowing exactly what's going on. Both with the guy who was abducted in the beginning, which you don't find out what happened to him till later in the movie, and with Chris and Rose's family, and what is Rose's family's real intentions. And we know things are going to get bad for Chris, but we don't, it's hard to see where and when this is going to occur. So he had a very original style in his movie, and it worked fantastic. It could have easily been broken because there was a surrealness to it. If we go further into the movie, right about the midpoint, Chris walks into the house, and he's going to walk up into his bedroom to get the phone, and he finds his phone unplugged. And when he walks through the house, everybody's talking, and, you know, they're in the middle of the party, and everybody's talking and having a good time. But as soon as Chris gets on the stairs, everybody goes silent. And it's very unrealistic. I mean, this just wouldn't happen like that. And you're wondering what's going to happen to Chris. You're thinking they're about to do something to him because they're watching and listening, but nothing comes of it. And so this type of thing in a movie, it's difficult to put unrealistic things or surreal scenes in a movie and not have the audience go, oh, what is this? What is this? But he did a fabulous job at it. You never do that. It just intrigues you more. It leaves you wondering what is going to happen next. So a real intuitive understanding of film. But that's not the only place that Jordan Peele really excels as a filmmaker. The other place that he excels is in using a theme in a movie. Using a theme in a movie is vital to making a solid movie. And Jordan Peele knows how to do it. So he's got this movie, and it's a horror movie, okay? And we just talked about how he accomplished really building a lot of tension and anxiety in the audience. But there's also a statement in this movie. A statement about race, maybe saying that we live in a society that kind of believes that race issues are over, but they still exist all the time, like in interactions on a daily basis. And even though they're not outright, I don't like you because you're this race, there's still racial issues between different races. And it makes people uncomfortable. So he made a statement on race in this movie. But if you notice, there's never really actual statements made about race. In the beginning, we get some from Rosie's dad, but they're all fairly positive. And then we get a few lighthearted comments from Chris's transit authority friend, who is the comic relief in the movie, works really well. But he does bring some of these racial issues to the surface, but not in a serious way. He's not lecturing us. He's not trying to get a point across to us. He's doing it in a humorous way, so it's very tolerable to the audience and even welcomed. If Jordan Peele had a scene where one of the characters stood up and gave a righteous speech on race, this movie wouldn't be what it is. It would be ruined. It's no longer a film about entertainment or horror film. It has now become a political platform for him to speak from. And when you mix those two things up, it doesn't work well. People don't want political platforms in their movies. So if you have a statement to make in your movie, if you have a belief that you think could help humanity, help people, you need to hide it in the theme. And that is exactly what Jordan did. He used the theme that even though everything seems okay, it may not be. And a lot of times it's not. And that it's not a good idea to just sit and pretend things are okay when they're probably not. Now, this ties into nearly every aspect of the movie. And that's what makes a theme powerful, a theme allows you to subconsciously intertwine everything that's going on into one thing for the audience, and it helps keep the audience focused on the topic matter that you want them focused on. So the main point that I certainly think Jordan Peele is trying to make is that, you know, we can't just pretend that race relations are all fixed and fine, that there's still issues in them, and the only way to fix them is to acknowledge them. And where we see this really stand out in the movie is when we look at Chris's internal struggle through the movie. So Chris's external struggle obviously has to do with dealing with a crazy family who's going to take his life from him. But his internal struggle goes back to the loss of his mother. When Chris lost his mother, he just sat in front of the television and didn't move. He was afraid that if he moved, if he made a phone call, that it would make it real. So what Chris wanted to do as a child, which any child would want to do, is Chris wanted to pretend that everything's okay. Just like we do with race relations in today's society. And so Chris had a lesson to learn through the movie. Chris's lesson was that he had to learn was when you pretend that everything's just okay, you're going to be in trouble. And so we see Chris carry this philosophy through when he first arrives to Rosie's family's house. When Rosie's father brings up the fact that he's nervous about the impression that he may be giving because he has two black people working for him, Chris calms him down. Chris, oh, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So Chris wants to pretend everything's okay. He doesn't know Rosie's family, but from his point of view, if they do have racial issues, he doesn't even want to know about it. He just wants to pretend that everything's okay. And then we see throughout the movie that Chris learns time and time again that you cannot just pretend everything's okay. Just like when he sits in the hypnosis chair. He sits there thinking, okay, everything's okay. I'm not going to say to her again, I don't want to be hypnotized. I'm not going to tell her again, I don't want to be talking about what happened to my mother. He just keeps pretending everything's okay. And that's when he really gets himself in the trouble that it could possibly lead to the end of his life. So Jordan Peele's use of a theme really enabled him to give us a powerful film that was entertaining, terrifically horrific in an original way, and also that left us with a statement to help us live better together in a community. And so kudos to him for that. The performances in the movie were also really great. Both leads really underplayed their roles, which I think was very helpful in not making it corny or cliche. Rosie's entire family was just creepy and weird to be around. The brother was just absolutely great. I couldn't stand him every time he was on camera. I just wanted to punch him. Overall, I would have to give Get Out 4 out of 5 stars. An aspect that I always take into consideration when rating a movie is the cinematography, because it's a big deal in movies. It's a big deal. And this was the one place that I really didn't see Get Out surpass or really make a particular impression. It was certainly fine cinematography, but nothing that caught my attention in any way. So, but beyond that, performances, the pace of the movie really moved along right from the start to finish. There was never a point where I fell out of the movie. It really had me the whole time. It used a theme in a way to enhance and enrich the whole movie experience. The performances were absolutely fantastic, and the cinematography was certainly up to par, but was nothing terrific. And the movie itself was extremely original, which, give it 10 stars for that. I mean, all we get is the same old movies told over and over and over again. And for some reason, Hollywood's absolutely convinced that this is what we want, and maybe some of us do, but I don't believe the majority of us do. And so really, kudos to Jordan Peele on presenting a completely original script. Not only haven't we seen this story again, but it was a whole new way to look at the horror genre. So great job with originality. And again, the cinematography was certainly up to par. Just didn't really impress me in any way. There wasn't any real uniqueness to it. It was just kind of clean and well done. So for that reason, Get Out gets 4 out of 5 stars. I would highly suggest checking Get Out out if you haven't already. If you have any questions or comments on Get Out, or how Jordan Peele used the theme to carry a message across in his movie without ever actually saying it, go ahead and just leave them below. If you enjoyed the video, don't be afraid to go ahead and give it a like. We are uploading new videos all the time. If you'd like to be alerted when we do, go ahead and subscribe and ding that bell. You will be notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.